Thank you for staying with us. Now we're being joined by Ileo Kikio, a public affairs analyst, to shed more light and give much more analysis on this issue. It's a pleasure to have you on the program again.
Yeah, nice being here, Victor.
All right, so let's look at it from the government perspective, because it seems everybody's blaming government for Nigerians and even Africans, because as we are aware, it's not only Nigerians that are taking that trip. We have Gambians, we have Ghanaians. What is the government doing wrong?
Okay, so we all know that the ends of government cannot be removed, from the whole issue around our people migrating for a greener pasture. Truth is, if things were to be all right in Nigeria, if people had their free square meals, they won't be looking for a place. But I mean, even the basic things that government ought to provide has not been provided. The basic necessities of life, they've not been provided for our citizens. And so it is expected that people will naturally move from places where there are less opportunities to where they perceive opportunities to abound. And even in Nigeria itself, we have seen people move from the hinterlands into places like Lagos, Abuja, and all of the major cities in Nigeria, thinking that the opportunities for them would be better, or rather their chances are better in the cities compared to the local villages where they're from. And so on a larger scale too, you see people moving from Nigeria into Europe. But it's such a pity that the road leading to Europe itself is full of all the dangers, and that is what we've seen in Libya so far.
Okay, so people are saying that the National Orientation Agency needs to do more in terms of sensitization and creating awareness. Do you think that should be the case?
Yeah, I think it's one of the things, but ultimately that's not the ultimate solution. We've seen government take care of their people in other countries where there are social benefit for those who are unemployed, and a whole lot of other benefits. But I know in Nigeria, so the federal government is trying. At least they've started with the social investment programs all across. But I mean, it's just barely scratching the surface. So much more than the National Orientation Agency, sensitizing people of the dangers they face. But I mean, if a man is pushed to war, he would go any extent, just for the basic survival of life. And Maxwell had already said it. There are some basic things that ought to be available for every man's survival before you think of the rational thing the NOA will be telling us.
Okay, so when you're talking about these basic things being available, it takes a lot of money to even make this trip. I mean, if you have that kind of money, why then would you not stay back?
Well, I have not made the trip. Maybe that would have been the proper question.
I understand.
I mean, sometimes if you look at the situation of people, you would be...
Who have that kind of money?
No. Okay, so I know, I've heard some of them say that whilst they were in bondage over there, they had to call their people in Nigeria to send money. So I don't want to believe they have the money, but their family in Nigeria would need to run around, probably borrow, and do several stuff just to send money down to their people for them to be released.
Yeah, but I'm even wondering, why would you pay that kind of money to make a trip that is a 50-50 scale? Because according to one of the confessions that I heard by one of the returnees, when they got to Spain, they were just told, just go.
Okay,
so why would I pay money to be on a 50-50, chance you could make it and you couldn't make it? Like, why don't you use that money and invest in Nigeria, start a business or something?
Okay, so truth is, it's not all the scenarios that are the same. There are some who were sponsored, to leave Nigeria. Maybe their traffickers wanted to use them for prostitution and a lot of other illegal businesses.
Which is another good point, because we haven't really looked at the women part of the whole conversation.
Yes. And interestingly, I've also seen graduates, also fall into the same trap. So for me, I don't think there's much more to what is happening other than people having some form of money or some of certificate or literacy in them. I think it's all about the hope of a common man. The hope is just not there. And so they will look for any money anywhere just to travel overseas where they see that there are better opportunities for them to make much more than they would be investing. So it's an investment, it's an initial investment for them. So if the common, if a man has lost all the OPRs, I mean, he will do anything. He will do an undo.
Well, I mean, the Edo State government is providing some form of incentive, so to speak, 150 meters of hectares of land and 100 million naira agricultural fund. Do you think states should replicate that as a preventive measure rather than, it coming when people are coming back?
No, I think all states should replicate that. It's something good. But the truth is, it will still not be enough. I mean, this problem had been existing for years. The only reason why this is now coming to light is because of the fact that there's no government in Libya and the law and order had broken down. And so you now see a lot of groups coming up to do these illegal activities in broad daylight. They now kidnap people for ransom and all. I mean, it's been existing for as far back as we know it, and so there's a problem, and which is what I had said initially. The common man had lost hope. So the government needs to invest in this type of initiatives that you talked about, which is providing access and basic opportunities for the common man on the street. Then aside that, I think the federal government has a role to play in this. In South Africa, you hear today that a Nigerian is killed. In Malaysia, same thing happens. In India and all of these places. I think the federal government will need to come out and make a very strong statement against these nationals and these countries treating Nigeria is very bad. We know we have our own situations, but when our people get out there, we shouldn't allow any country, have it easy when they treat our people badly.
Well, let's wait and see how that will happen. But then, Ileo Kikio, thanks for joining us on the program.
Yeah, it's always my pleasure.
And sharing your thoughts.
Yes.
I'll take a break, and when we return, we'll bring you the most viewed videos on our YouTube channel in the past week. Please stay with us. This week's fifth most viewed video is that of Governor Rochas Okorocha reacting to the uproar that greeted the unveiling of statues in honor of former and serving African leaders in Owerri, the Imo State capital.
How much is the statue? Because people are saying that it's over 500 million. I'm sure you heard that.
If I have my way, I choose not to speak on the amount of the amount spent to erect those statues.
The presentation being made by a senior permanent secretary of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to call or to refer to the head of civil service of the Federation as that person.
In fourth place, we have the video of the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Interior apologizing to the head of service of the Federation after wrongly addressing her during his submission at an investigative hearing by the House of Representatives.
I was making a general reference. You know me as a discipline officer, as you said, Ma, I have never meant to do that, and I didn't do that. And if you have taken, please, Ma, forgive me, I have apologized.
Okay. Like I have earlier said, all those who took us today are hereby discharged of the oath. Mr. Chairman.
From the same hearing comes the next video. In third place is this member of the task team, Abdurrashid Mena, served as chairman, causing a scene.
No, we are saying no.
You are saying no?
Yes, you cannot be stampeded. How will you give everyone a chance to discuss and talk? And we are trying to be pushed into a corner. That was what happened in the Senate in 2012. And we will resist it. Give us chance, please. Give us chance to
Please. You have something to say?
Please, yes, we do.
Talk.
We do.
Talk.
Let me tell you, I'm passionate about our people. I'm passionate about this country.
Second place is taken by the video of former governor of Abia State, Orji Uzor Kalu, speaking about the whereabouts of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu.
All right. Do you think the young man, Nnamdi Kanu, is still in Nigeria?
From what the relations to, the answer is no.
He may have left the country.
Not, the boy told me authoritatively that he went to Malaysia, from Malaysia to London. And I still stand by that story. I just saw the boy in Abia State a few days ago, and he reaffirmed to me what he told me.
I recovered money for last administration, and I recovered money for this administration.
And in first, the video of the former chairman of the Presidential Task Force on Pension Reforms, Abdurrashid Mena, breaking his silence in an exclusive interview with Channels Television.
Listen, I'm not afraid of anybody. I'm saying the truth. Now, our president, thank God our president stands for the truth. The unfortunate is that some people around him, whom he has given trust, are lying to him. This one I can attest to, and I can give you instances, I can give you documentary evidences.
Well, those were the most viewed videos on our YouTube channel in the past week, and now that the EU, AU, footballers and celebrities have condemned the trafficking of humans, the world will be watching to see that the menace is done and dusted with once and for all. And that's the program this week. Thank you for watching. I am Victor Matthias, but do remember the conversation continues via the social media addresses showing on your screen. Bye for now.